Hey guys, and welcome back to Vikings 4x4 and Adventure, to the start of a really special series here on the channel. In this series we will be going through the details and rundowns on the Pajero as we progressively get it to the tourer that we envision. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Ryan and this is my 2013 NW GLXR Pajero. It's a 3.2 litre turbo diesel that we have had since brand new. And in this first episode of the build series, I'll be taking you through all the car in its current state before we begin any further modifications. So let's begin pretty much where all rundown videos do, guys, at the front of the car. Now on this car we have got an ARB Deluxe bull bar on the front here. We've had this on since almost brand new. It's a winch compatible bar and I definitely don't have any intention of taking this bar off. It looks great and it really has worked well. We've got some old illuminator spotties on the front here, as well as this enormous GME aerial. We've also got an underhanging light bar here which we've had a few problems with that we'll address later, and hiding underneath we've got a full custom off-road bash plate that covers the radiator, the intercooler, as well as the sump. We haven't quite gotten down to the transmission yet, but that will be coming in the future. So the plan in the future department for the front of the car is to upgrade the lighting here to a brand new set of XTM spotties. Really nice, really bright. Also want to black out these aerials here, get the ones with the black spring, put another one on here. Of course, putting the winch in is an essential for the stuff that we want to do. So that'll go in here, the number plate will flip up, as well as remove this underhanging light bar. Those of you who have been subscribed for a while will note that in our last adventure to Nunes, we actually hit this light bar and it went up. I also want to add in the final piece of the underbody protection, which is the custom off-road bash plate that covers the transmission. But that's pretty much it in terms of the front of the car and what I want to do and what we've got on here. So under the hood of the vehicle here, guys, you're pretty much looking at a stock vehicle. There's not too much going on in terms of performance. Actually, there's nothing going on in terms of performance under here at the moment. We've got a red arc DC-DC battery charger over there that is the heart of the 12-volt operation in the Pajero that I'll get to a little bit later. It's actually a very simple 12-volt setup, but that little piece of equipment over there allows us to actually have a 12-volt setup at all. Now in terms of the future for under the hood, in terms of performance, I haven't really got too much on the table. I really want to put a second battery in here. There's space just over there near the battery charger to put in a second battery. So that will mean I'll have 3 batteries in total. That one will actually, the aim will be to help out with the load of the winch. Because I do intend to obviously put a winch in the car at some point. The last thing I want is for it to drain the cranker. And other than that, a snorkel will be probably coming soon. But in terms of actually upgrading the performance of the car, I don't really want to fiddle with the reliability of it too much. I do intend to do some big trips in this car where I'll be far away from assistance, and the last thing that I want is for a turbo to blow out or a head gasket to blow, a cylinder to pop, something like that out in the middle of the desert, because I fiddle with it too much. Of course, the likeliness is probably low, but at the moment I'd rather focus on other things. I guess the only other thing I can think of is I thought about putting a turbo back exhaust on it, but again, that's not an immediate thing. That may come somewhere down the track. Alright guys, welcome down to the side of the car. Now you are pretty much looking at a stock vehicle here. Everything here is stock as can be. You've got the stock side step, you've got the stock mirrors, you've got no panel protection. The car's sitting at its stock ride height. The only thing that you'll notice are these BF Goodrich 31-inch all-terrains here on an alloy rim. Now this car has been pretty much a pavement warrior its whole life up until now. Hasn't done much what you consider serious off-roading that we've started to do in the last couple of months. So that's why I've decided to make this scene, because the future actually looks pretty good for this side of the car. Firstly, a nice set of clear views on here. If we ever do decide to start towing again or towing bigger things like the caravan, those clear views are going to make it a lot easier. Don't need to put any of those extension mirrors on. Set of rock sliders. If anybody does do some sort of panel protection for the side here, I'd be heavily interested, but unfortunately not many people seem to do stuff like that for Pajeros. So at the moment there's nothing envisioned for there, but if something does come along, absolutely I'd be interested. The most important modification for this part is definitely going to be the 2-inch suspension lift and the bigger tires, 33-inch mud terrains with a steel rim. So that's going to make it a lot better for off-roading. Unfortunately, in the last couple of trips, The bash plates have taken a beating. Thankfully they're on there, like I said before, full custom off-road bash plates. Definitely done their work. Only the 3mm ones, but they still are bulletproof, it seems. So without those bash plates, I think there would have been some serious damage taken underneath, and that's why I've taken the first step towards getting the car lifted and bigger tyres on. I think it's going to make a world of difference. Alright, now looking up at the roof here, you guys will notice it's pretty stock. Besides from the basket, so we've got the stock Pajero roof rails, a couple of Rhino racks, a basket and an ARB awning. That's pretty much it, besides the enormous 41-inch light bar that's not wired up on the front of the car. Now, in terms of the future for this section of the car, this is going to be completely overhauled for stage 3 of the build. Those Pajero owners will know that these roof rails are pretty flimsy when you start putting lots of weight on top of them, so I really want to get Rhino Pioneer platform with the backbone system straight up there, get that done so it's got a nice good roof rack on there that's nice and load rated. I then want to put a Drifter Wildlands rooftop tent on top, and I also want to put a 270 wing awning, maybe from the Bush Company. I really seen a nice one there on Fire to Fork. I seen that one and I really liked it because it's independent, it doesn't require any poles. I also want to put some spotties on the front of the rooftop tent and just get this whole area here lit up by some work lights underneath the platform rack. So it'll sit about here, it'll just be a flat platform rack across with the rooftop tent on top, the awning off the side again coming around, and then all the lights on top there, the work lights as well as the spotties on the front, and that'll pretty much do it in terms of the roof. I don't have too many other plans for the roof, at least. Maybe as time goes on and through experience we might tweak a few things, but that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of the future of this section of the car, I wanted to spend a minute here because I really wanted to do something in terms of this spare tyre carrier that we've got on the back here. It's really flimsy, you can't fit a big spare tyre in there, and the car is going to look really stupid with the big 33-inch mud tyres on it and this stock road tyre here on the back. Now, a 33-inch mud terrain does fit on the back here, but then you just can't close this annoying thing. For those of you who don't know, this swings open and then the tyre comes off. So what I wanted to try and do is figure out a way to completely remove this and just have the spare on there, maybe with a number plate relocator on the back there. Now, the number plate lights and the reversing camera are all under here, so it is going to be a fair bit of work. I guess the only thing that is good about it is that the wiring is already run out here through a little thing in the back door, because they got to get the wires here, so it's already coming through, so I don't have to run any more wires through there. It's already all there. I just have to relocate that section and then fully pull this off. The only downside again to having the 33-inch spare on there is that it will bump the tow bar, but I'm not always towing, so I can just take that off and the rear door will open fine. Now, you can get little kits that extend this thing out, but then it will just always bump the tow bar. You need to actually have a tow bar that goes down lower. Looks really dumb, so I'm just going to try and remove it completely. We'll add a unique look to the car. It'll also mean I have a proper spare on there that'll actually fit on the car, because if I blow a tyre out in the middle of the bush and I've only got this thing on there, it's really not going to work that well, at least trying to get home anyway. So that's the plan for this back area of the car. We'll see how it works. I haven't put anything into motion yet, but we're going to do some tests soon, and then we'll see how it goes. You'll definitely see the update in part 2. Alright guys, welcome in. Doors now open, and here is the 12-volt operation in the back of the car. It's very simple. We've got under the bonnet, as I mentioned just before, we've got that Red Arc DC-DC battery charger that runs to this port right here, and that charges this Thumper 110 amp hour AGM battery. This battery is really old and it's a little bit different to most AGM batteries. Inside that battery is just a bunch of little cells, almost like laptop batteries if you would compare it to anything, and it's not like in a battery box or anything. That is the whole unit right there. That is the battery as it comes. It's designed to be charged off the alternator. It runs really well. Here we've got a Waco 80-litre fridge. It's pretty old as well. It's done us well for many years. We've got some LED lights tucked away in the back there, as well as a kick-ass 20 amp AC/DC battery charger in there to charge the battery off. So when we are plugged into power, that will charge the battery if I wanted to, but majority of the time when we're driving long distances, the battery gets a nice good charge off the alternator anyway. Now in terms of the future for this department of the car, I really want to tidy it up a little bit. It looks pretty messy in terms I want to get at least up to 3 drawers on the side here, a little bit of a smaller fridge that's more efficient, definitely a lithium battery in there, as well as another battery in the front. And that's pretty much it in terms of this area, because as you can see, everything is kind of everywhere and it looks messy. I know where everything is, but it bangs around when we're moving. So with some drawers, it would be really nice. We're really compact, as well as with a smaller fridge, the battery would last longer, and with a lithium battery would get much more power out of it, because we find ourselves running a little bit low on power now after about the 2nd day of being at camp. The battery's starting to get low, we have to charge her up. With solar, it's doable, but when we don't have the advantage of solar, it's quite difficult. Alright, so inside the cab here is pretty stock as well. Besides from the UHF here and the Red Arc brake controller, everything else is completely stock. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. The car comes factory with a rear diff locker, and I don't think I'm going to add too much more in here. Maybe a Red Arc Manager 30 at some point, or a HEMA Maps, something like that. Have a GoPro mounted here for future videos. But I'm pretty happy with the inside of the car. I don't need to replace the stereo. It does me well. Everything in here does me well. The transfer case is really easy to work. It's an electronic display, and everything's pretty good. The only thing I can think of maybe would be replacing this thing here with a switch panel. I've seen something on Den Monkey's channel. Go check him out. He's got a Pajero as well. And he replaced this card holder here with a switch panel, and I have to say, for my purposes, it would be pretty good, considering I want to get the winch and I want to get a few other work lights and stuff wired up. It would be really beneficial to have a few extra switches around, because the Pajero is quite limited for switch space. I've got one spare switch here, which will probably be for the top lights at some point, and I've just got this little thing here which can house 2 switches. I'm pretty sure in some models of a Pajero there are switches here for something, don't know what, but other than that there's no other switches really around. So that's the only thing I can really think of. Other than that, pretty happy with the stock inside. I want to get a set of seat covers. That's pretty much it for the inside of the car though. So that'll be it, guys, in terms of stage 1 of the Pajero build series, guys, showing you how the car is just now before we start the modification process. Of course, you'll note the car isn't stock, but the reason I showed you the car as it is now is so you know when I change something, because every single part of this car is going to get attention in one way or the other. So when I change something, you know why I changed it, what I changed it to, and how that impacts us on-road, off-road, traveling, touring, everything. You'll know completely. So if you enjoyed this one, guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along with the Pajero build and see how this car goes. Keep an eye on the channel, as well as keep an eye on all of our adventure videos to see the car in action and on trips. And that'll pretty much be it from us, guys. And until the next adventure, make sure you stay safe.